Hi, my name's Rich, and I make a show called Early Morning Barking, which is a video show for people with BPD, or borderline personality disorder. This video, however, is a little different from normal. This video isn't designed to be viewed by any of my normal audience. This one is for you. Somebody who doesn't have BPD and doesn't really know what it's about, and maybe you've got a friend who's just fallen out with you for reasons that you can't quite explain, and they've sent this video to you in the hope that maybe I can explain it without all the drama. I'll give it a go. You see, what's probably just happened is your friend with BPD has just done what we call split. What we tend to do is see things in black and white, good or bad. And people and friendships and relationships work on exactly that same basis. I'm guessing that something has just happened to put you in the category of bad rather than good. Now, don't panic. It isn't necessarily that you've done anything at all. Whatever has happened to do that, it's probably not your fault. It could be anything. And I'm not just saying that because, yeah, we're all different. We all have our different problems. We all interact differently, etc. But trust me, you don't really have to have done anything. It might be that you took slightly too long to reply to a text message, or something came out wrong, or something was interpreted wrong, or your friend was just having a bad day and not in the mood for anything, and you just happened to be the person stood in front of them at the wrong moment. It could be anything. So you aren't really to blame in any of this. But then the trouble is, neither is your friend really. They've got BPD, and part of that is having unstable relationships. And unfortunately, that's what you're living through right now. This is the unstable relationship. You see, like I say, they see the world in good or bad, black and white, etc. And generally, they're okay and balanced when things are in the good pile. But it could just take the slightest little breeze of something to push something over into the bad pile. And because it comes out of nowhere, because it can be anything and so insignificant, it's so difficult to predict and control. And it's so often a reaction to something that they didn't see coming at all. They don't want to do it. They know it's really bad, but right now, as it's happening, they can get caught up in it. Things might seem to make perfect sense right now. They might have some really clear argument as to why they've fallen out with you. And it's got all the evidence they need. It looks so rational and sane and perfect. And it's not going to be till later that they can look back and go, yeah, that was stupid. That was just wrong. I jumped to a conclusion here. I didn't listen right. I misheard this, and then that bit, I don't know what I was on. But right now, they probably just feel like shit. It comes from a place of insecurity, right? They also worry about being abandoned, about being left without anybody. And so it leaves them constantly on edge, constantly worrying, constantly looking for that reason why they're going to be abandoned. And that makes them so sensitive to little things, especially in interpersonal relationships. They're always looking for that reason that that person doesn't really like me. They're just putting up with me. And so it can take just the slightest little thing to make them think, no, I'm going to be hurt here. I have to abandon this. I have to destroy this even. I have to do God knows what. It's a panic. It's a reaction. It's not rational. And I know it's difficult to go through. If you're a friend to somebody who's going through this, it takes a lot to do that. And if you continue to do that, you are just such a fantastic person. Because we're not obliged to do that. You don't have to. It's a lot of work. And we don't want to impose that on people. You know, it becomes possible for us to sort of share it, to pass it on when we sort of just share our experiences. You know, there are things that we do, things we experience that if we were to tell you every time we did it, we would become annoying to you as the thing we're going through. So it becomes difficult to talk about these things all the time. And you just get to see where it all goes wrong for us. You get to see these splits, these bits where we just fizzle and there's a short circuit and we need a couple of days to reset everything. And it's hard for you to go through. I understand that. We all understand that. It can be a lot to take on. But I think what we really just need is some understanding. Is just for you to know what's going on so that when it looks like we've thrown a rage, thrown our toys out of the pram, taken our ball home, or moved some toy to somewhere else for some reason, it's not a permanent thing. And really, however severe we seem at the time, we don't mean it. It's this thing, this miswiring, this, God, however else it feels. Of course, it's a personality disorder. It has symptoms, it has causes, it has treatments. And maybe we'll be lucky enough to be going through those treatments and realizing what those symptoms are so we can deal with them. But that doesn't mean we won't slip up along the way and start to see things as bad that really are good. Or more truthfully, somewhere in between. That might be something you see us struggle with in general, right? You'll notice where everything is good or bad. There's nothing that's okay. And people also have trouble being just okay. There's a lot of that attitude around. And it's easy to fall into and easy to forget that we have this middle ground. And as people with BPD, we really struggle to hold on to that sometimes. And so we end up with these big dramatic things where we think everybody hates us, so let's burn all the bridges. And it's what we do. We don't want to. And I promise you that there's a great deal of shame felt afterwards. It's difficult to come back. And I'm not saying don't mention it, right? I'm not saying when your friend wants to come back that you should pretend nothing happened, because that might be quite unreasonable. We don't have to not acknowledge this. It's not a secret, but it's better to talk about it calmly and with a clear head. And that's difficult to do in the moment. It's virtually impossible to do in the moment. And so I think that's one thing I would ask. Just be prepared to talk. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be particularly dark, but I think it might help everybody to just understand what happened. Because ultimately, that's the best way to deal with it, is talking about stuff. And it might well help your friend out. And it can give them chance to express how they feel about what happened. Because I promise you, they won't be feeling great about it. And to be able to be given that chance to apologize and explain themselves without, I don't know, too much judgment. At least a bit of understanding, then that would help them. And I would tell them to understand you as well, because it's important that this goes both ways. When we're struggling to get right with these conditions that we live with, we need to know where we've gone wrong and own that and take responsibility for what we do at those times, because it's coming from us. But we're working on it. So thank you for dealing with us. Thank you for being there. And thank you for taking the time to even learn this much. I know it's not exactly fun, is it? I get that. And I appreciate that you would do this for your friend. So give them a couple of days to cool down and text them and see what they're doing. I'll see you later. Bye.